It's the kind of night that makes the forest feel alive. The kind of storm that doesn't just fall, it hunts. Midnight rain lashes through the branches, rattling the trees so hard you'd swear they were trying to tear themselves free from the ground. The air tastes like copper and danger. The wind carries the metallic tang of blood, mixing with wet earth, moss, and something darker. Something primal. The moon struggles to shine through, flickering like a dying candle behind bruised clouds. Thunder rolls in the distance, slow and rumbling, like a creature waking, stretching, deciding who it wants to devour next. And through this chaos, she runs. Barefoot. Bleeding. Terrified. Serah's feet slap against mud and wet leaves, slipping, catching, slipping again. Every movement sends pain screaming through her ribs where claws tore into her hours ago. She can feel the wound pulsing, warm, sticky blood soaking the shredded fabric of her shirt. She doesn't look back. She doesn't dare. But she can hear it. The thing that hunts her. A low, guttural snarl sliced through the trees minutes ago, too close. Branches cracked under massive weight. Something big. Something built to kill. Not a wolf. Not a man. Something worse. Something she was never supposed to see. Her heart stumbles in her chest, beating too fast, desperate to escape the body it's trapped in. She breathes like she's drowning. Like the air hurts. Because it does. Her lungs burn, sharp knives with every inhale. Her throat tastes like iron. She's not sure how long she's been running, minutes or hours. The forest has swallowed all sense of time. For a moment the storm quiets, like the world is holding its breath. And that silence is worse than the growling. Silence means the predator is listening. Hunting. Calculating. She pushes forward, deeper into the darkness, the trees closing in around her like prison bars. Lightning flashes overhead, just long enough to show her the path, just long enough to show her how hopeless her situation looks. She stumbles. Her knee hits a rock. White-hot pain explodes, shooting up her leg. She falls, landing hard, breath knocked out of her. Mud splashes over her forearms as she scrambles, shaking hands clawing for something to hold, something to push against. Her ribs scream at the movement. She bites down on her lip, tasting blood again, her blood. And forces herself upright. Her body is trembling, every limb shaking like they might give out at any second. But stopping isn't an option. Not tonight. Not with that thing closing in. Something crashes through the trees behind her, heavy, snapping branches like toothpicks. Her pulse spikes. She limps forward, half crawling, half dragging herself until she reaches the fallen tree, a giant trunk, slick with rain and moss, blocking her path like nature's last mercy. Without thinking, she drops behind it, curling into the shadows. Her breath comes out in shallow, frantic gasps. She tries to muffle herself, pressing her arm to her mouth, but she can't stop shaking. Her body is trembling so hard that the bark beneath her vibrates. She presses a hand against her ribs, teeth clenched, trying to stop the bleeding. The wound is deep, deeper than she wants to admit. She can feel the warm trickle spreading again, soaking her shirt, running down her side. She squeezes her eyes shut. Her mind whispers. Not again. Not again. Not again. She doesn't know if she's praying or begging or breaking. Maybe all three. She presses her forehead against the damp bark and tries to focus, tries to breathe, tries not to collapse under the weight of what's happening. The monster paces somewhere beyond the tree line. Its growl is low, vibrating through the ground. She can feel it in her bones. Not like sound. Like presence. Power. It's hunting her with intention. Not hunger. Not instinct. Purpose. And she knows exactly why. Because of what she carries inside her. Because of the thing she was cursed, or destined, to become. She feels it again, that flicker beneath her skin. Like a spark. Like silver fire waiting for someone to strike it into flame. It crawls beneath her blood, tingling, threatening to rise. She grits her teeth. She won't let it take over. Not now. Not when she doesn't understand it. Not when she's terrified of what she might do. Her breath trembles, a sound too small for the storm to care about. She clutches her ribs tighter, biting back a whimper. The forest watches her. The storm holds its breath for her. The darkness presses close like a living thing. And she hides, small, broken, shaking, trying to keep quiet while her body threatens to give up. She doesn't know if she'll survive the next minute. She doesn't know if she'll ever see another dawn. She doesn't know if this is the night she finally stops running. Because there's nothing left to fight with. But what she does know, the truth clawing at the back of her mind, the truth she can't ignore anymore, is that whatever hunts her isn't just hunting her. It's hunting what she might become. It's hunting her destiny. It's hunting the power she has never dared to unleash. The silver flame. The forbidden shift. The spark every pack fears. A flash of lightning splits the sky, lighting up the woods for half a heartbeat. Enough to see her muddy feet, her scraped knees, her trembling hands. Enough to remind her that she's alone. Utterly, terrifyingly alone. Another snarl ripples through the forest. Louder this time. Closer. She clamps her hand over her mouth. Her lungs freeze. Her heart stops. She knows this is it. She's reached the end of the line. And she can't run anymore. And if you want to know why she's running, if you want the truth behind her terror, her secret, her destiny, the storm doesn't disappear, it only shifts, like a predator stepping back to let something even more dangerous take the lead. The rain softens, no longer pounding like fists but whispering like breath. The forest grows heavy with mist, as if the world has pulled a veil over itself, hiding what comes next. The smell of blood lingers, hers, but something else fills the air now. Power. It arrives before he does. A pressure in the atmosphere, thick and electric, humming through the ground and into her bones. Every hair on her arms lifts, every instinct inside her screams to run, but her body refuses, frozen and shaking, because whatever is coming isn't hunting blindly. It knows exactly where she is. The growl comes again, but this time it's different. Not the unhinged hunger of the monster stalking her before. This one vibrates through the fog like a pulse, deep, controlled, commanding. The forest listens to him. Even the storm listens. She tries to push herself lower behind the fallen tree, clutching the wet bark, biting back a gasp. Her ribs throb, her blood feels too warm against her freezing skin, but pain isn't the worst thing she's feeling. It's the uncertainty. The terror of the unknown approaching her. Lightning cracks again, just enough light to reveal something tall moving through the mist. Not rushing. Not sprinting. Striding. Slow, deliberate, confident. She squeezes her eyes shut. Maybe it won't see her. Maybe it will pass. But her heartbeat betrays her, pounding too loud, too wild, as if it wants to leap from her chest and scream. And then, silence. A silence louder than thunder. She doesn't breathe. She doesn't think. She doesn't move. The silhouette stops right in front of the tree she hides behind. She feels its presence before she dares to look. The air shifts, charged, alive, humming with something ancient. Her fingers curl into the mud. She's shaking so hard she swears the tree shakes with her. Then, the shift begins. Not with sound. With sensation. The air ripples like heat waves off burning stone. The forest reacts, branches rustling, mist swirling. Something massive shrinks, not shrinking in weakness, but reshaping with purpose. Bones rearranging. Fur retreating. A wolf becoming a man. It's not violent. It's not grotesque. It's the kind of transformation you don't witness, you feel. And she feels every second of it. The power folding inward. The heat is tightening like a coil. The shape settled into something human. Then footsteps. Bare feet stepping into the mud. Closer. Closer. Closer until the damp earth trembles beside her. She lifts her head just a fraction, eyes peeking over the moss-covered trunk, breath caught halfway in her lungs. The mist parts around him like it recognizes who he is. He stands there, rain dripping from his dark hair, steam rising from his skin as if his body runs hotter than anything human. His shoulders are broad, scars cutting across muscle, every line of him carved like war and royalty intertwined. She has never seen him before. Yet something inside her whispers that she should know him. He doesn't speak immediately. He doesn't scan the area like a hunter. He looks straight at her. As though her fear is a flare only he can see. As though her heartbeat is a signal meant for him alone. Serah. Her name slips from his mouth like it belongs to him. Her stomach twists, fear, confusion, adrenaline all crashing together. Her throat constricts, her mind spins, because he shouldn't know her. No one should know her. She's the exile, the runaway, the mistake everyone buried. Her tongue is too heavy to form words. He bends, one knee in the wet leaves, lowering himself to her level, but he doesn't invade her space. He stops just far enough away that she could run, though they both know she won't. Slowly, carefully, he lifts a hand. Not to grab her. Not to overpower her. But to lift her chin. His fingers hover inches from her jaw, allowing her the chance to pull away. She doesn't. She can't. His touch is warm, scorching compared to the cold storm. The warmth travels down her throat, across her chest, settling in the bruise around her heart. He tilts her face toward him, forcing her to meet his eyes. Eyes that look like the storm and the night and the moon all collided. A royal darkness. A magnetic depth. A power that doesn't ask permission. His voice is low. Calm. Too calm for the chaos around them. You should have never run alone. The words hit her harder than claws ever could. Because they aren't scolding. They aren't judgmental. They aren't even angry. There's something worse. Concern. She doesn't know whether to flinch away or collapse into it. She swallows, but her throat is too dry, and the sound that escapes her lips is nothing but a soft gasp. How does he know me? How long has he been watching? Why does he speak like I've always belonged to him? Her pulse hammers. Her breath trembles. Her instincts scream at her to push away from him, but something deeper pulls her closer. The storm doesn't matter anymore. The bloody wound doesn't matter. The monster hunting her doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the man kneeling in the mud, looking at her like she is something more than broken. Something more than dangerous. Something meant. His aura presses against her senses, not suffocating, not controlling, just present. He is a protector and a threat. A savior and a warning. A king and a ruin. She realizes she should be terrified. She should run. She should fight. But she can't. Her voice cracks, barely a whisper. Who are you? His lips curve, not in amusement, not in arrogance, but in something softer, something that feels like recognition. I am the one who has always known you. The words settle into her chest, heavy as destiny. The forest holds still. The mist thickens. The storm waits. And she stares at him, bleeding, trembling, breathless, because she knows something now. Whatever hunts her. Whatever destiny waits. Whatever power rises inside her. She is not facing it alone. Not anymore. And that truth terrifies her more than anything else. The rain quiets, turning into a slow drip that slides from leaf to leaf, like time itself is hesitant to move forward. Her breathing rattles in her chest, uneven, like someone who has held their pain for so long that even silence is heavy. She tries to pull her thoughts back into the present, into the now, into this moment beside him, but the past grabs her by the throat. It comes back like lightning behind her eyes. Not memories. Not images. But wounds. She sees herself as a child, small, trembling, eyes filled with silver sparks she never asked for. She remembers how wolves twice her age flinched at her touch. How they whispered behind her back. How they pretended not to fear her when their fear bled through every shaky inhale. Dangerous, they said. Uncontrollable, they whispered. Cursed, they decided. And no matter how much she tried, no matter how many times she pretended she didn't hear it, it burrowed in her marrow. The silver power wasn't something she learned. It wasn't something she wanted. It was something that woke inside her like a storm that never asked permission. She remembers the night everything shattered. The moon was full. The pack was gathered. She was told to shift, told it was time, told it was expected. She wanted them to be proud of her. She wanted to belong. She wanted a family. But she didn't shift into fur and claws and familiar forms. She shifted into flame. Silver fire that screamed through her veins like molten lightning. Fire that wasn't hot, wasn't physical, but pure energy that burned souls and stripped lies naked. 3 wolves collapsed instantly. 2 screamed and fled. One she loved, nearly died. And the worst part wasn't the accident. It wasn't the collapse. It wasn't the terror. The worst part was what their eyes said afterward. They didn't see her. They saw a threat. She remembers standing alone in the rain that night, the alpha marking her forehead with exile. Silver blood dripped down her cheek. Her hands were shaking. She remembers saying, "I would never hurt anyone." And the alpha answered, "You don't have to want it. Your power chooses for you." That sentence carved itself into her bones. So she left. Ran. Lived on scraps of fear and instinct. Sleepless nights. Twisted roots for pillows. The forest turning from home to prison. And somewhere deep inside her, she began to believe that she deserved it. That she was, indeed, dangerous. Unworthy. Cursed. That belief became armor. It became true. It became my identity. Until now. Until this moment. Standing before a man who speaks her name like a truth he never doubted. He is close, close enough that his breath grazes her cheek with warmth that feels like shelter. Close enough that she should step back, she should shove him away, warn him, run, vanish, disappear. But her feet remain planted in the mud. He studies her with eyes carved from shadow and storm. Eyes that should judge her, but don't. Eyes that should recoil, but instead draw closer, as though he sees something worth protecting rather than destroying. She hates that. She hates the warmth rising in her chest. She hates what it makes her feel, vulnerable, soft, exposed. She forces her voice out, barely a whisper. "You shouldn't be here." He doesn't flinch. "You should have never run alone," he answers. And his tone isn't cruel. It isn't scolding. It isn't authoritative. It's protective. That hits her like a new kind of pain, one she doesn't know how to carry. Because she has never been protected. Never been defended. Never been chosen. And the forest holds its breath. The dripping rain slows. The mist thickens, wrapping around them like memory itself is standing still, watching. Waiting. Her thoughts spiral again, but this time not into the past. Into fear of what comes next. What if this wolf sees what others saw? What if he realizes she isn't safe? What if he turns away when he learns the truth? Her voice cracks, not because she is weak, but because she has been strong for so long that she forgot what softness feels like. "You don't understand," she tells him. "They were right to fear me." He steps closer, slow, intentional, steady, like a man who knows the weight of steps taken toward broken things. No, he says. They feared what they couldn't control. She still goes. Because that sentence, that exact sentence, is the one she whispered to herself on nights when she couldn't breathe. On nights when her power thrummed beneath her skin like a heartbeat she didn't want. On nights when loneliness dug its claws too deep. He lifts her chin again, not forceful, not claiming, not owning, just guiding, grounding. Tell me what you think you are, he murmurs. She swallows hard. She hates that he sees strength in the parts of her that only ever brought sorrow. But most of all, she hates that part of her wants to step toward him instead of away. The forest seems to lean in, listening. The mist seems to cradle them. The night grows still, as though the past finally loosens its grip on her throat. She remembers faces, names, moments, wolves she hurt, wolves she loved, wolves she left behind. But she also remembers something else, something she never admitted to herself. She never shifted for herself. She shifted to be accepted. She shifted to belong. But power born from desperation always spirals. She never learned control. She never trained. She never tried again. Because after exile, she believed there was nothing left to try for. And now, in the eyes of the wolf before her, she sees something terrifying. Possibility. She whispers, voice trembling like a final confession. I don't know how to stop hurting the people close to me. He answers, steady and calm, with a voice like carved stone. Then stay close to someone who can take the pain. She goes silent. And for the first time in her life, silence doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like the beginning of something. Something dangerous. Something powerful. Something real. Her heart pounds, not with fear, but with something she never allowed herself. Hope. And that scares her more than any monster ever could. The forest parts as though commanded by something older than time, older than bloodlines, older than the fear pounding in her veins. The man, this alpha whose presence feels carved from storm and stone, walks beside her, guiding without forcing, leading without pushing. Branches bow overhead. Mist coils around their ankles. Even the air feels altered, less like weather, more like memory. They step into a clearing that doesn't belong to the world outside. It feels like crossing into a forgotten layer of existence, where legends breathe and secrets keep themselves alive by sheer will. The grotto rises before her, an ancient cavern of moonstone, towering and luminous, as though the moon itself melted and hardened into pillars of glowing silver crystal. Runes, old, blistered, and impossible, crawl across the surface like veins of lightning preserved in stone. The moment she sees it, her body reacts. Her fingertips tingle. Her pulse falters. The silver in her blood stirs, restless, curious, terrified. She takes a shaky step back. What is this place? She whispers. The alpha doesn't answer immediately. He studies how she looks at the moonstone, as if she recognizes it even though she has never been here. As if her bones remember while her mind tries to forget. This is the heart of the moon, he finally says. His voice is reverent, quiet, carrying a weight that settles into her lungs. Every prophecy, every bloodline oath, every shift ever recorded, traces back to here. Our history started in this grotto. Her voice comes out barely audible, but it's a truth she has lived her entire life. I shouldn't be here. His gaze remains steady. You were meant to be here. Those words feel heavier than chains. She steps closer to the moonstone, unable to stop herself. It pulses, not visually, but in her veins. As if something inside her answers, I know you. As if the stone remembers her before she was born. She reaches out, hesitant, trembling. The moment her palm brushes the surface, the runes ignite. Silver flares outward, not burning, not searing, just awakening. The cavern vibrates like it has been asleep for centuries, and she is the first to whisper its true name. Light pours through the grooves, making the pillars look like they're alive, breathing. She gasps and stumbles backward. The alpha catches her elbow before she hits the ground. What did I do? She breathes. You didn't do anything, he murmurs. It responds to who you are. She shakes her head, voice cracking. No. No, I don't have power like that. I barely have control. I'm not. He interrupts gently, firmly. You are exactly what the moonstones have waited for. His words strike like a blow she can't defend. The air around them thickens, as if listening. Then, suddenly, the runes rearrange themselves. Silver lines split, shift, align into a pattern that coils like a serpent around the cavern. The light gathers into a single phrase carved into the center stone. His eyes widened. He steps closer, jaw tense, voice low with awe. The flameborn queen will bind the broken crowns. The sentence hangs in the air like a sentence passed down through generations. A truth carved into fate itself. She backs away again, heart pounding, breath uneven. No, she whispers. That's not about me. He faces her fully, stepping close, voice steady but intense. It has always been about you. Her chest tightens. Her knees feel weak. The weight of destiny presses down like a mountain made of every fear she's ever carried. She chokes out the only truth she has ever believed. I'm nobody. The cavern disagrees. The light intensifies around her, drawn not to him, but to her, like silver magnetized to her blood, not her skin. The runes hum with recognition and the ground beneath her feet trembles with energy that feels ancient, primal, inevitable. The alpha doesn't look away. You're the key to everything, he says. The pack kingdoms are falling apart. The crowns are breaking. War is coming. You're the one who can stop it. Her voice rises, desperate, raw. I don't want to be anything for anyone. I don't want destinies. I don't want prophecies. I don't want to save anyone. I'm not strong enough. He steps toward her, closing the distance until his presence is all she can feel. You have survived exile. You have survived fear. You have survived yourself. Strength isn't something you seek. It's what you've been forced to become. Her breath shivers. He lowers his voice. The prophecy doesn't want a hero. It wants someone who has been broken and still stands. She freezes, because that, more than anything, feels like truth. The moonstones react again. Silver shifting into images that flicker like visions carved in living light. Two wolves appear, one crowned in flame, the other crowned in shadow. Their eyes glow, powerful and dangerous. Their bodies press against her, not in violence but in recognition. She sees them bow their heads to her, not as subjects, but as equals. She gasps and shakes her head, tears burning behind her eyes. No, that's not me. That can't be me. He doesn't move away. It is you. She turns away, but the stone answers for her. Light coils around her wrist, around her pulse, threading silver into her heartbeat. The grotto whispers, not in words, but in certainty. She isn't here by accident. She isn't powerful by mistake. She isn't cursed by chance. She was chosen. Not because she was perfect. But because she was flawed. Because she was wounded. Because she understands what it means to break. Her voice drops to a whisper, as fragile as the breath she barely holds. I can't save crowns. I can't save kingdoms. I can't save anyone. He steps closer, not dominating, not commanding, but grounding. You don't have to save everyone. But you can save us. Her pulse spikes. Us? She asks. He answers, steady. The twin heirs. The two crowns. The broken bond. She feels the ground tilt beneath her. You're one of them, she breathes. I am, he says. And the other? He meets her gaze, not with fear, but with gravity. My brother. And suddenly, everything shifts. The visions. The prophecy. The fire and shadow. The crowns. The broken fates. She feels destiny like a noose tightening, but also like a doorway opening. The moonstones pulse again, silver bending into the shape of two wolves standing beside her, eyes glowing with loyalty, power, and something she never imagined she could earn. Belonging. The grotto seems to sigh, like history itself has been waiting for this moment. She closes her eyes, overwhelmed, terrified, lost. And the alpha whispers, soft but unshakable. You're not nobody, Serah. You're the reason everything has hope. The moonstones flare brighter than they have in centuries. And in their glow, for the first time in her life, she doesn't feel cursed. She feels called. The moment she begins to breathe in this destiny, this strange fragile hope that the moonstones reflected, the world snaps its jaws shut around her. A noise splits the cavern air, sharp as bone cracking. A growl. Low. Violent. Close. It doesn't belong to him. It doesn't belong to the ancient stones. It belongs to the wolves who have followed them here. Shadows peel from the edge of the grotto. Torchlight appears, not warm, not welcoming, but harsh, angry, spitting sparks like accusations. Figures emerge, armored pelts roughened by wind and war. Enforcers of the council. The sworn executioners of forbidden bloodlines. Their eyes glow with judgment before anyone speaks a word. She stiffens. Her body reacts with that old instinct, run, hide, disappear. But there's no forest to vanish into. There's no mercy in the air. The alpha steps forward, lowering his frame between her and the approaching threat. Not quite shielding, more like preparing to be swallowed by the storm himself. One of the enforcers steps out. Tall. Black-furred. Eyes like burning coals. Step away from her, he snarls. She isn't yours to protect. The alpha's voice stays low but iron-willed. She's under my oath. The enforcer spits back, your oath means nothing if it drags the kingdom into ruin. Their gazes lock like two beasts locked in a silent battle of dominance. Serah's pulse hammers, heat climbing her throat, but she doesn't move. She knows if she steps forward, if she draws attention, it will provoke bloodshed. The enforcer's eyes cut into her like knives. You brought the cursed flame to the moonstone heart? She should have been executed, not awakened. The accusation hits the cavern like thunder. She wants to shrink. She wants to vanish. She wants to say, I didn't ask for this. But the words choke before they reach her lips. Then another voice joins them. A new figure emerges, older than the others, draped in ceremonial bone markings and moon-forged armor. A council elder. He doesn't shout. He doesn't roar. His voice is worse. Controlled, disappointed, cold. For centuries the prophecy warned us, the flame-born queen would tear kingdoms apart. You have brought the destroyer into the sacred heart. Her breath breaks. Destroyer. That word feels like a knife dipped in her past. She sees flashes, her old pack staring in horror as her half-shift burns silver and wild. Wolves she cared for were thrown back by a blast of uncontrolled power. A child nearly scorched. A friend left scarred. That was the night they exiled her. That was the night she became the curse. That memory roars to life, and her knees feel weak. She whispers, barely audible, I didn't mean to hurt anyone. The elder's eyes narrow. That is why you will never be queen. Intent does not absolve destruction. Before she can flinch, the enforcers raise their blades, silver-tipped, forged to restrain ancient powers. For her, they are more than weapons, they are a death sentence. The alpha moves closer to her, his voice deepening, forced calm under fire. She is not here to harm. The prophecy doesn't name her destruction, it names her restoration. The elder's jaw tightens. You read only what you want to believe. She awakened the moonstones, the alpha challenges. And so would any flame-born, the elder counters. Power alone does not prove destiny. It proves danger. Her voice trembles, but she forces words out. I didn't choose this. The elder does not blink. No one ever does. The air thickens with the promise of violence. Hand her over, the elder commands, or you will stand against the council. He doesn't shout. He doesn't threaten. Yet the weight of his words could collapse mountains. The Alpha stands taller. I will not betray her. The cavern goes silent, like everything inside it holds its breath. The elder nods once. Then you betray us all. The enforcers shift, ready to pounce. Serah's heart shatters in her chest. This is her fault. This war. This divide. This chaos. She can take many things, but she cannot bear the thought that wolves will die because of her. She steps forward. Just an inch. Just enough to shift the balance. No, she whispers. Don't fight for me. Don't fight because of me. He looks at her, pain carved into every line of his face. You don't understand. I do, she interrupts, voice shaking, and that's why I can't stay. His expression fractures. He reaches toward her. But not fully, afraid his touch might shatter her resolve. You walk out of this grotto, you walk into death. She manages a broken exhale. Maybe that's better than bringing death to those who don't deserve it. Tears burn behind her eyes, silent, stubborn, held back by will alone. Serah, you are not the curse, he argues. They just don't see what I see. And I can't force them to. Her voice softens, but her spine stays firm. If I stay here, wolves die. If I go, they live. I won't be the spark that sets this kingdom on fire. His jaw clenches. You think leaving protects them? It will only prove their fears. They will hunt you harder. They will never stop. She nods once, quiet certainty in her eyes. They already never stopped. He reaches again, just inches away, but she steps back, denying him the chance to cage her with kindness. His lips hover above hers, just shy of connection, heat pooling between them with the tension of planets aligned and ready to collide. But he doesn't rush. He waits. He lets her feel the gravity he has been fighting since the moment he first scented her. Then footsteps echo from outside. Sharp. Fast. Wrong. He jerks back, body shifting into silent predator readiness. She straightens, ignoring the pain, eyes alert. The threat returns. The moment shatters. But the bond remains. Alive, dangerous, undeniable. And as embers flicker against the cavern walls, their hearts know a truth that neither will ever forget. Trust was no longer optional. It was destiny. It was a war. It was them. The council hall looms like a cathedral built from shadow and judgment, its stone walls dripping with cold moonlight that filters through cracks high above. Torches flicker, casting restless silhouettes that crawl across every surface, every observer, every accusation lingering like a scent too sharp to ignore. The air hums with tension, thick and suffocating, as if it knows the truth before anyone dares speak it. Serah steps forward, hesitant, but her steps echo like drums against the cold stone floor. The ceremonial hall is crowded with wolves, every pair of eyes fixed on her like knives. Some shine with recognition, some with fear, and others with venom. Wolves she once called pack, wolves she once trusted, wolves who once smiled at her in warmth, they now glare as if she were a demon wearing her own skin. The air tightens around her chest. Every heartbeat rattles like a bell. She knows this night was dangerous, but she never imagined this. Never imagined betrayal would strike from within, from those she thought were allies. The elder of the council rises, face carved from moonlight and malice, voice echoing like a verdict across the hall. Behold the truth of your so-called queen. Behold the flameborn who has haunted our prophecies and your nights. He gestures, and suddenly, a figure steps forward. A wolf she once called friend, someone whose loyalty she had trusted blindly. Now the mask of friendship drops, and venom drips in its place. A scroll unfurls, and the words written in silver ink glint wickedly in torchlight. Her bloodline, her lineage, her curse, exposed. Every secret she had hidden, every scar she had bled into the night, every attempt to survive quietly, it's all on display. Her lungs seize. Her legs tremble. The walls of the hall feel closer, tighter, and she wishes she could vanish into the stone itself. The pack whispers erupt, voices layered in fear and accusation. She is cursed. The prophecy warns of destruction. The flame-born queen will burn us all. The words cut deeper than any fong. She opens her mouth to speak, to defend herself, but the crowd doesn't want defense. They want condemnation. Their gazes pierce her like silver-tipped daggers, and even the Alpha, her anchor, her protector, hesitates. He steps forward, and she sees it in his eyes, doubt. The tiniest flicker, the almost imperceptible hesitation that shakes her world. Her chest caves in. Her stomach drops. Every hope she had ever dared to hold, every thought that perhaps he could see past the curse, past the fear, past the history of pain, shatters. Her voice cracks, barely audible over the rising chorus of accusation. I never asked for this. The elder's voice rises, relentless, gleaming with authority. Your power is not a gift, girl. It is a weapon. It will destroy us all if left unchecked. You are a threat, not a queen. Heat coils in her chest, a mixture of fear, anger, and heartbreak. She stumbles backward, clutching her chest as the familiar silver fire awakens within her veins. The spark is tiny at first, like embers that have been smoldering for years beneath the ash of shame and exile. Then it grows, licking her skin, a whisper of the power she has always feared, always restrained, always denied. Her eyes flare with the glow of silver flame, reflecting every torch, every shadow, every betrayal. She doesn't speak. She doesn't run. She unleashes the spark, and the hall trembles as if reality itself recoils. Wolves step back, eyes wide, jaws snapping, tails bristling. The Alpha freezes, torn between duty and desire, between loyalty to his pack and loyalty to her. The flames don't burn flesh, not yet, but they consume the certainty around her. They make visible the storm she has carried for so long. Every memory of exile, every scar, every broken trust manifests in silver fire, a warning and a declaration. Her voice comes at last, low, trembling, but unstoppable. I am not your monster. I am not your curse. I am, me. A collective gasp rises. Whispers crawl through the hall like wine through dead trees. Wolves recoil as if the air itself has become charged with danger. Even the elder falters, hands clutching the podium, eyes wide with the shock of a prophecy made flesh. The Alpha's voice cuts through the roar of whispers, strained and trembling. Serah, stop. But she doesn't. Not yet. Not while the betrayal, the lies, the fear, the judgment, and the venom all swirl in the room like a storm seeking release. She takes a deep, shuddering breath, letting the fire pulse and surge through her until it dances across the stone floor like silver lightning, illuminating every shadow, every hidden doubt. The betrayal of those she once trusted burns hotter than any flame, hotter than any fear. And in that inferno, she sees clarity. She sees truth. She sees herself, not cursed, not broken, not alone, but powerful, dangerous, and alive. The Alpha steps closer, hands shaking, voice low but filled with a mixture of anger and awe. You don't have to prove anything. But she does. She needs them all to see what they have tried to hide behind fear. She needs them to see what it means to be her, to survive, to stand. Her eyes sweep the hall. Wolves she once loved now spit venom. Friends, mentors, allies, none understand the fire they see. And it doesn't matter. She can't wait for understanding. She can't wait for approval. The silver flame flares higher, responding to her emotions: rage, despair, heartbreak. Every pulse of fire echoes like thunder, shaking the rafters, making torchlight dance violently on the walls. She whispers, almost to herself. I will not be tamed. I will not be owned. I will not be denied. A deafening silence follows. Even the alpha falters, torn between his pack and his heart, between the order he was raised to obey and the woman standing before him, flame-born, unstoppable, and magnificent in her fury. And then she turns. She steps away from the hall, from the torches, from the council, from every expectation they have placed upon her. Her silver fire dims to a controlled pulse, as if acknowledging her own limits, her own humanity, and her own choice. The alpha watches her go, every instinct screaming to follow, to protect, to claim, but he cannot. Not here. Not now. The hall watches them fracture, the prophecy made living and terrifying. And in her chest, beneath every throb of fire and pain, she knows something: this heartbreak, this rage, this betrayal, it is not the end. It is the crucible that will forge her. It is the storm that will prepare her. The hall stands frozen in awe and fear. The council cannot comprehend what they have witnessed. The wolves do not know whether to bow or flee. The alpha cannot reconcile duty with desire. She walks into the night, carrying the weight of her power and her scars, and with every step, she feels the spark of rebirth, terrifying, raw, and utterly hers. The silver flame burns bright against the darkness, a warning and a promise: she is not finished. Not yet. Not ever. And the night whispers after her, carrying a single truth. The world has only just begun to understand what she is capable of. The battlefield is nothing like she expected. Or perhaps it is exactly as she feared: ruins sprawled like broken teeth across the earth, smoke curling from splintered trees, the scent of blood sharp and metallic in the air. The moon hangs low, blazing red like fire trapped in ice, casting long shadows over wolves fallen and dying, over their homes crumbling, over the chaos that has claimed everything she ever loved. Serah stands at the edge of the destruction, barefoot on mud and ash, her lungs burning, her ribs screaming from old wounds. The silver flame flickers weakly in her veins, but this time, she does not hesitate. This time, she does not fear it. She can feel it calling, the dormant fire within her, the lineage of queens and warriors that thrum through her blood, whispering her name. You are not here to beg forgiveness. You are here to claim it. The enemy is near. A shadow beast. Massive, twisted, fangs glinting like shards of obsidian under the crimson moonlight. Or perhaps it is a rival alpha, his aura dark and searing, commanding fear with every breath. Pack wolves are scattered, struggling to fight, too weak to stand, too afraid to hope. Innocent lives hang by a thread as chaos consumes the battlefield. The alpha who once followed her hesitates at the edge of the fray, torn. He cannot fight here. Not against destiny, not against her power, not against what she is about to become. His eyes find hers across the distance, and she reads the fear there, the longing, the bond that refuses to break even as the world crumbles around them. She exhales, slow and deliberate, feeling the fire awaken in her chest. It coils like silver lightning, electric and alive. Her heartbeat sinks with the tremor of the earth beneath her, and for the first time, she feels whole. Not broken, not cursed, not flame-born, but sovereign. And she steps forward. The ground responds. Stone cracks beneath her feet, ruins stirring like slumbering giants. Light pulses from the cracks, running along fractured walls, across the bones of collapsed towers. The air thrums with energy, ancient and raw, as if the battlefield itself recognizes her authority. Her silver flame bursts through her skin, not as a timid ember, but as a roaring inferno. It surrounds her, shaping itself, solidifying, until her form shifts. Her bones lengthen, muscles pulse with new power, fur erupts like molten moonlight, eyes glowing like twin moons. She is not a girl, not a woman, she is the flame wolf queen. Every predator, every pack member, every enemy who dares to challenge her sees the fire, feels the power, recognizes the sovereignty in her stance. The shadow beast snarls, frozen mid-step. Its dark aura recoils against hers, the night itself trembling from the collision of wills. Her enemies falter, realizing too late that the monster they feared was merely the spark. The queen, the true force, was always inside her, waiting. Her gaze sweeps the battlefield. Wolves she once loved are still alive but injured, still struggling, still terrified. She does not hesitate. Her flame arcs outward, protective and fierce, not to destroy, but to shield. Sparks leap like silver arrows, driving back the enemy, keeping the innocent safe, reclaiming the field from chaos. The ruins awaken further, stones shifting as if the earth remembers her bloodline. Moonlight strikes silver veins in the ground, ancient runes flare, echoing the pulse of her heart. She does not need to speak the magic, it responds to her will, her lineage, her claim. The rival alpha, or the true villain, the one who has manipulated prophecy and fear, steps forward from the shadows, eyes narrowed. His aura is dark, menacing, absolute. He raises his voice, attempting to command the battlefield, to twist the prophecy into fear. Step back, Flameborn. You cannot defy destiny. You were made for sacrifice, not sovereignty. She lifts her chin, silver flames licking higher, reflecting off her fur like molten metal. Her voice cuts across the night, strong, unyielding, echoing through stone and shadow alike. I am not your sacrifice. I am not your pawn. I am the queen. And I decide what burns and what lives. The ground shudders beneath her words. Shadows coil and recoil. Even the red moon seems to lean closer, casting its blood-tinged light across her crown of fire. The enemy snarls, furious, advancing, but each step is measured against her control. She is not reckless. She is not fearful. Every motion, every breath, every pulse of flame is precision, royal, dangerous, sovereign. Her eyes find the alpha who watches from the edge of the battlefield. He doesn't move forward. He doesn't need to. He knows she is unstoppable now. Yet, there is awe, and unspoken love, and a bond that burns brighter than silver flame, and he feels it deep in his chest. He sees her, and for the first time, not as broken, not as cursed, but as destiny incarnate. She steps toward the villain, each movement causing the earth beneath to quake. Sparks and light ripple outward. Her true form blazes higher, silver fur gleaming, eyes reflecting the history and pain of generations. Every scar she carries is illuminated, every wound she has survived now a badge of authority. She is fearsome, she is breathtaking, she is the prophecy alive. And then she stops, mere yards from her enemy. Flames lick the edges of their shadows, light against darkness. Her voice drops low, controlled, dripping with promise. You will not command me. You will not claim me. The crowns you wish to break. I will bind them. The air thrums like a heartbeat. Wolves freeze mid-step. The villain halts, unnerved, as if he suddenly remembers that no prophecy, no plan, no counsel, no threat, can dictate the will of someone who has embraced themselves fully. The flame wolf queen raises her head, and the battlefield itself seems to bend toward her. Light bursts from fissures in the stone, rivers of molten silver fire coursing across the ruins. Shadows twist, then break. Moonlight strikes the tip of her fur, reflecting like 1,000 blades, and in that moment, the world knows, she has arrived. The alpha whispers, almost to himself, a vow more than a statement. She is unstoppable. And she's ours to protect, or lose forever. The villain makes a final lunge, but Serah doesn't falter. With a graceful, terrifying sweep of her flame, the air ignites, pushing the enemy back, forcing recognition. The girl they tried to break has become the sovereign they never saw coming. Every pack member watches, every enemy trembles. She does not burn them indiscriminately. She does not annihilate. She reclaims, she protects, she asserts her sovereignty. The silver flame answers her call like an obedient army, like lightning made solid, like destiny made flesh. And as the ruins pulse with her energy, as the battlefield hums beneath her feet, Serah understands the truth she has been avoiding for so long. She is no longer the hunted, no longer the cursed, no longer the pawn. She is the Flame Wolf Queen. She is a power incarnate. Her destiny is realized. And the world, terrified, awed, and unprepared, has no choice but to bow before her awakening. The dust rises slowly, curling like smoke around broken stones and shattered roots, settling on fur and flesh alike. Every breath hangs heavy, scented with ash and silver fire, with the iron tang of fear and the faint sweetness of survival. Wolves lie scattered across the battlefield, trembling, not all from pain, but from the awe and terror of what they have just witnessed. Some kneel instinctively, heads bowed, acknowledging power beyond comprehension. Others recoil, ears flattened, tails tucked, as if the very flame she commands burns within them. They do not understand her yet. Perhaps they never will. The night is still, but it quivers with potential, a pause before the next wave of chaos and loyalty. Serah stands amidst it all, the silver flame coiling gently along her fur, pulsing like a heartbeat in sync with her own. Her eyes scan the horizon, dark and endless, and she sees the shadow of her own future stretching across the broken land. Each ruin, each trembling wolf, each fractured bond, the echoes of choices made and yet to come, linger like ghostly reminders. Her jaw is set, muscles taut with exhaustion and unspent fire, and still, her chest rises and falls with slow, deliberate breaths. She is alive, sovereign, undeniable, but the weight of what she carries presses on her like stone. The world is watching. The world is judging. The world may never forgive, may never follow, may never understand. And yet, there is power in the uncertainty. Power in the silence between the whispers, in the pause where destiny and choice collide. She lifts her chin, eyes gleaming with the faint glow of moonlight, silver reflecting off the trembling fire of her fur. Every wolf watching her knows that a decision awaits, not from her, but from them. Will they kneel and pledge loyalty, or will they flee in fear? Will they see the savior, or only the fire that could consume them all? She tilts her head slightly, almost a challenge, almost a plea, almost a prophecy. Her voice rises, not loud, not commanding, but soft, haunting, woven with the poetry of inevitability. Is she the savior you needed, or the fire you feared? The words hang in the crimson-tinged night like a question written in smoke, like a knife poised above hearts still beating fast. Wolves stir, unease rippling through the ranks. Some glance at one another, seeking guidance. Some glance at her, seeking answers they cannot speak aloud. The alpha steps closer, though he remains outside the reach of the silver flame, eyes locked on her as though staring into the future itself. His heart thunders in his chest, torn between fear and awe, between instinct and desire. Even he wonders, even he hesitates. She tilts her gaze to the horizon, seeing beyond the ruins, beyond the battlefield, beyond the judgments and fear. A faint smile, bitter and knowing, touches her lips. She knows the truth, the power she holds is not only her own, but a mirror for the choices of everyone who dares to stand in her presence. Would you stand beside me, or run from my flames? She asks again, her voice trembling with a mix of vulnerability and command, a whisper that seeps into every shadow, every stone, every heart in the distance. The air holds it, trembling with the weight of unspoken promises and unanswered questions. The silver flame pulses brighter, reflecting in eyes wide with fear, awe, and the first sparks of hope. Wolves shift nervously, some kneeling in cautious reverence, others retreating to the edges of the battlefield, uncertain whether they follow destiny or flee from it. She takes a step forward, not advancing in aggression, but in assertion. Each movement is deliberate, deliberate as a heartbeat, deliberate as a promise. Her presence commands the night itself. The wind stills. The ruins seem to lean closer, the flames of her power lick higher, hungry yet controlled, dangerous yet protective. The alpha's voice breaks the silence, low, strained, haunted. I will follow you. even if the world does not. A ripple passes through the battlefield. Wolves glance at one another, hearts pounding, torn between fear and loyalty, doubt and hope. Some kneel, trembling but resolute, others shift uneasily, unsure where their allegiance belongs. And in that moment, Serah realizes, the choice is no longer hers to bear alone. The fire she carries, the sovereignty she claims, does not belong just to her. It is a test, a mirror, a challenge to the world. Will they rise to meet it, or will they be consumed by the fear that has always hunted them? The moon hangs red and still, like a silent witness to the storm she has become. The earth trembles gently beneath her feet, responding to her pulse, her will, her awakening. Even in quiet, there is the suggestion of upheaval, a promise that the night is far from over. She closes her eyes for a brief moment, feeling the power coiled in her chest, the fire that has always been both blessing and curse. She exhales slowly, deliberately, letting the embers of control spread through her limbs. Every spark, every flicker of silver flame, reflects not destruction, but truth. The battlefield holds its breath. Wolves wait. Shadows linger. Destiny hangs on the precipice. Her voice, soft, almost a song now, drifts across the still night. Will you stand with me, or will you let the flames take everything you love? It is not a command. It is not a threat. It is an invitation. A challenge. A haunting echo in the hearts of all who hear it. She opens her eyes. The silver flame surges, radiant and sovereign, and the night holds her in awe. The air quivers, heavy with expectation and the unspoken truth, this is not the end. This is not the beginning either. This is the moment where choices are made, where fear is faced, and where loyalty is tested. And as the camera of the night sweeps over trembling wolves, kneeling and recoiling alike, the narrator whispers, soft, haunting, and lyrical. Would you stand beside her, or run from her flames? The wind carries her words into the darkness, folding around ruins and riverbeds, through shattered stone and broken roots. The world waits, silent, breathless. And somewhere, in the flicker of embers and silver fire, hope and terror collide, and the question lingers, unanswered, haunting, impossible, eternal. Her eyes lift to the horizon, glowing silver in the red moonlight, and in that glance lies the truth no prophecy can fully capture. She is power, she is choice, she is fire, and the world must decide if it will bend or break. A final pause, long and deliberate, stretches across the battlefield, the ruins, the trembling wolves, and the hearts of all who watch from shadow and distance. And then, the soft, cinematic invitation. If this story lit something inside you, subscribe to Wild Moon Narratives. Because here, we tell tales that burn. The night swallows her words, but the question remains. The flames pulse. Wolves watch. And somewhere in the shadows, destiny waits. The battlefield falls silent, but not truly. Silence here is heavy, pregnant, a living thing that presses against the chest and stirs the heart with unease. Ash drifts slowly from shattered ruins, settling over the bloodied earth like a thin veil of memory. Every fallen branch, every cratered stone, every scorched patch of earth carries the echo of the chaos that had raged, a whisper of fury and fire that refuses to die. Serah stands at the edge of the field, silver flame still flickering across her fur in gentle pulses, her true form slowly shifting back, muscles relaxing, fur smoothing. Her eyes are still silver bright, reflecting the red moon as it sinks toward the horizon, casting the remnants of the battlefield into long, stretching shadows. Her chest rises and falls, slow and deliberate, but the weight of everything, the betrayal, the battle, the lives she could not save, presses against her ribs like an iron band. The Alpha approaches quietly, careful, tentative, yet every step resonates with the unspoken bond between them. He does not speak, does not touch, simply watches as she surveys the aftermath, her gaze distant, caught in a storm that no one else can see. He knows she carries more than the battle. She carries destiny, prophecy, the echoes of flame-born queens long gone, and the weight of choice that comes with it. Wolves stir in the distance, scattered, wary, unsure whether to follow her or flee. Some kneel still, eyes lowered, heads trembling under the weight of awe and fear. Others retreat further, shadows of doubt stretching from their backs as if they are trying to outrun the silver flame that had consumed everything in its wake. The wind shifts, carrying with it whispers from the ruins, from stone, from earth that has witnessed centuries of power rise and fall. A voice, low and haunting, drifts from the shadows of broken towers and splintered trees, almost imperceptible at first. She is not the only flameborn. The words wrap around Serah, around the battlefield, around every trembling heart, like a cold hand brushing over a wound. Goosebumps rise along her spine. She stiffens, aware of the weight of unseen eyes, aware that the night holds secrets far deeper than what has already unfolded. The prophecy she thought she understood now expands, stretches, twists into forms she cannot yet see. The Alpha steps closer, voice rough, careful, almost afraid to break the silence. What do you see? Serah's lips part slightly, but she does not answer. Her gaze lifts to the dark horizon, where the forest thins and the land drops into shadow. There is movement there, subtle, too deliberate to be the wind. Her instincts flare, a flicker of silver flame brushing along her nerves like the brush of an unseen predator. Her chest tightens, but her spine straightens. The true Alpha has not risen, yet. The voice whispers again, this time sharper, heavier, sliding across stone and shadow like smoke curling from a dying fire. A shiver travels through the pack, through the battlefield, through the very bones of the earth. Every wolf senses it, though none can name it yet. Fear, anticipation, awe. They are all tangled together, a web spun across the ruins and the ash-strewn ground. Even the Alpha feels it, tension tightening his chest, his instincts screaming caution and warning. Serah turns slowly, silver eyes reflecting the last embers of her power, moonlight catching in the curves of her fur and the trembling shadow of the ruins behind her. She does not speak. Words would betray the enormity of what she senses. The flame-born power in her chest hums, alive and aware, as though the earth itself is speaking in pulse and flicker. Every shadow seems to stretch longer, darker. The wind curls around her like a living thing, tugging at the edges of her hair, brushing her fur with a chill that makes the silver flame respond instinctively, small tendrils of light dancing along her skin, alive and quivering. A distant howl rises, faint but unmistakable, a call across the forest, sharp, eerie, primal. It is not the call of a pack she knows. It is something else. Something waiting, testing, marking its presence. Her instincts tighten. Her jaw sets. Her claws flex, even as her form slowly shifts back to human, the silver flame coiling in quiet anticipation beneath her skin. She turns back to the Alpha, eyes narrowing just slightly, a spark of fire and challenge hidden behind exhaustion and pain. She knows the coming storm is not yet hers to face alone, that what she has survived is only the beginning. The prophecy teases more trials, more power, more betrayal, more fire. And yet, she does not flinch. She will not flinch. Not now, not ever. The ruins seem to hum beneath her feet, responding to her pulse. Stones shimmer faintly with silver light as though acknowledging her sovereignty, her awakening, her claim. The wind carries whispers of forgotten queens and warriors, voices folded into history, coiling like smoke into the present. Every sound, every flicker, every shadow seems to bend toward her, waiting to see what she will do next. She steps forward, slow, deliberate, sovereign. Ash drifts around her feet, curling like smoke around candlelight. Wolves shift nervously in the shadows, some kneeling, some crouching, all sensing the electricity of impending change. The red moon lingers above, watching, almost sentient, reflecting in her eyes like molten silver. Her pulse sinks with the tremor of the earth beneath her, with the faint hum of power rising from the ruins, and she knows, she has claimed the battlefield, the prophecy, the silver flame, but the story is far from over. She whispers, almost to herself, a vow more than a statement, carried on the wind to the trembling ears of wolves and shadow alike. This isn't over. Not for me, not for them, not for the world. The alpha watches, chest tight, unable to speak, unable to move, knowing in his bones that he is no longer just a protector, no longer just a witness. He is part of the storm she has become, bound to it, bound to her, bound to the fire she carries. The battlefield is still. The ashes settle. The wind carries the echo of prophecy and power, twisting around broken stone and living flesh. Wolves tremble, leaning into fear, leaning into awe, leaning into the first tremors of loyalty and understanding. And then the shadows shift again, subtle, almost imperceptible, carrying the faintest whispers of a presence that has yet to show itself. The true alpha has not risen, yet, the voice repeats, a promise and a warning all at once, threading through the night and curling around every heartbeat. Serah lifts her gaze to the horizon, silver eyes glowing faintly in the red moonlight, fire coiled beneath her skin. She knows the road ahead will test everything she is, power, heart, sovereignty, love. But she also knows that she is no longer afraid. The ashes drift higher, caught in a silent wind. The moon wanes, shadows stretch, the world breathes around her. Every wolf, every shadow, every heartbeat in the forest waits for the next move, for the next spark, for the next storm. And in that hush, the narrator's voice softens, lingering, poetic, haunting. The fire has awakened, and the world will never be the same. Will you stand with her, or fall to the flames? The night stretches, heavy with unanswered questions, trembling with anticipation, whispering promises of battles yet to come. And somewhere, in the shadowed edge of the forest, a faint shimmer of silver and red hints at power yet unseen, at a force that waits, patient, calculating, a storm still rising. The screen of the night fades slowly, leaving only the whisper of prophecy, the glimmer of silver flame, and a heartbeat, long, tense, relentless. This isn't over. Serah stands at the edge of the battlefield, the silver flames of her power slowly dimming but never fully fading. She has claimed her sovereignty, her identity, and the destiny that once terrified her. The world, the pack, the rival alphas, the prophecy itself has witnessed her rise from hunted outcast to the flame wolf queen, a force no one can ignore or control. Beside her, the twin alpha heirs watch with a mix of awe, respect, and undeniable devotion. Their connection to her is more than desire, it is recognition, a bond forged in fire, blood, and trust. They may have been destined to challenge her, to shape her path, but in the end, it is her choice, her power, and her courage that binds them together. The threat may have passed for now, but the shadows whisper of trials yet to come, of enemies still lurking, and of destinies that have only begun to unfold. Serah is no longer afraid of what she is. She has embraced it fully, mastering her silver flame and her heart alike. She is a queen, a warrior, and a beacon to those who are brave enough to stand beside her, or foolish enough to stand against her. And as the crimson moon sets, casting its final glow over the ruins of a night filled with chaos, love, and power, one truth is undeniable: she is no longer a girl running from her past. She is the Flame Wolf Queen, and the world must reckon with her, her fire, her heart, and her unbreakable will. The story closes on a moment of triumph, of newfound trust, and of lingering suspense. Though victory is hers for now, the future remains unwritten, the prophecy far from complete, and her heart forever bound to those she has chosen, and who have chosen her.